I mean, we have irrefutable proof that there's code violations. And Regency just continues to basically say, go f yourself. They don't want to hear us. They want to keep us silent.
I can fit my body underneath my house. Regency built me a lemon with a failing foundation and then sued me. The minute Regency sued me, I knew that they wanted me to be quiet because they knew that there was something really wrong with this house. And the minute they did that, I was like, oh, now it's on. Okay, so in July and August, we brought out 2 engineers. One was a soils specialist engineer and one was a structural engineer. The soils engineer took testing from all of the open trenches that we had dug around our house. And he did some pentrometer testing and some other things where you take a cone, you go deep down into the soil, and then he sent it off to a lab to have all of the soil analyzed. The results of that soil sample testing that went down, I believe, 4 to 6 feet.
6 feet, yeah.
Is that our foundation or the soil underneath our foundation is not properly compacted and is not sufficient enough to support the weight and the load of our house. Summer, we had 3 spots in our foundation trenched, maybe like a 2-foot segment, maybe not even quite 2 feet. And it shows, so International Residential Code requires continuous perimeter footings, which means the entire exterior of our foundation is supposed to have a footing that doesn't stop, doesn't have any breaks, doesn't have any interruptions. And here's the big important part. It's supposed to be a minimum of 13 inches into either native soil or properly compacted soil. And since we do not have properly compacted soil, and we know that we don't have it because a lab has told us that we don't have it, those footings that we have around the perimeter of our house need to go into native soil. How far down is native soil? 4 to 6 feet. How far down do our footings go? 13 inches in one spot, arguably 12 inches in another spot, and 7 inches in the third spot on the corner of the.
It has to be taken down. You know what I'm saying? And we have to do this process right in order for it to work. The soil is just never going to be properly compacted because they brought in 47 truckloads of dirt to a single family home, single family lot. It's just insane.
The water content is through the roof, which is why our slab is perpetually wet and why we can't put floors down on it. I'm not sure if you can't really see because we got the chairs in front of it, but we're sitting on concrete in our house. We don't have floors on most of our main floor right now. It's just concrete. They ended up digging a 26-foot long trench that was about 2 to 3 feet wide to get to this plumbing. All of our toilets were backing up is because the water was just like backing up into our house. It wasn't flushing out. So Regency said, hey, can we put this demand letter on hold and deal with this problem inside your house? And then I said, sure. Yeah, let's handle one disaster at a time. And right now my focus is toilets that work in my house and plumbing that works in my house. So let's focus on that. I have asked them in writing not dozens, but a handful of times to just issue the code violation. They told me, we can't do that. You need to file a police report. So I filed a police report and the police are like, what the fuck do you want us to do with this? This is a civil matter. And I'm like, I'm only doing what I'm told. I took the police officer and the detective the email and I was like, you see where it tells me to file it? And he's like, why would they tell you that? And I'm like, because nobody in this city wants to do their job against Regency. And then one afternoon, I get an email from my attorney that Regency has sued you for talking about what's going on in your house on social media.
They want to keep my wife. They want to keep my wife silent. Because she's a very strong, independent well-spoken women, as you could tell. Obviously, they did us wrong. But I also feel that, they don't like that my wife is as well-spoken as she is, and that she's very good at what she does. And I say that in the most like giving her a compliment. And anytime that she tries to talk, it's like they don't want to respond back. But the moment I interject with anything, they'll get back to me. And it's because flat out because I have a penis.
Our kids are struggling. We have a kid last year who zero demerits in school for the whole 2 years that he's been in school. The flood happened, they pulled up all of our flooring, and in a 2-week period, this child got 12 demerits in school. And thankfully, the teacher and the principal pulled us aside and they were like, "What is going on?" Because he went from this to this. I'm just going to bed at 3 a.m. and getting up at 7 a.m. every day, surviving off 3 hours of sleep. And our kids are struggling. Like, people shouldn't have to live like this.